All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. This is being recorded, so I'll be sure to share it with everyone after we're done. But the reason I wanted to bring everybody together is because over the past several weeks, actually over the past couple months, Pug, Bryce, myself, Adam, we've been talking about ways to really build on this idea of bringing the program together, of teaching some more team dynamics. And, those are things that I think are important. And given the fact that the high school season is in jeopardy now, one of the key elements, one of the key attributes of a high school baseball team is just the freshmen looking up to the seniors, and, the sophomores or juniors getting their first taste of varsity baseball and learning from some of the older guys, and also learning how to function within that team dynamic. And it's something that we had talked about at our meeting last fall. Part of the reason that we went to more of the play up mentality with the 15-year-old guys playing in 16U events, and then also with the upper class, playing a mixture of 16, 17-year-old players, because it is really important. And learning how to function within that dynamic is in many ways equally as beneficial as just learning about baseball itself. So with that, we've designed this mentorship program. And, I put up in big bold letters there that we're focused on developing leaders. And I think most athletic teams or most activities, most schools that you come across are going to say something to that effect. I think many, our organization included, have done very little to actually follow through with that. And some of the efforts, are more talk than actually putting those words into action. So we're hoping to design a plan here, or we have designed a plan that hopefully, allows all the athletes on the line here, everybody in the program, to learn how to do just that. So what we're doing is we're going to pair up every player with another player that is, I guess, in the case of an 8th grader, a freshman or a sophomore, an older player. In the case of the juniors and seniors, a younger player, and put together these mentor-mentee type relationships. And I'm going to share a little one-pager on this afterwards as well, and we're going to continue to talk about this in our team Zoom meetings. But really, we're looking for 4 things out of the mentors. One, we want them to be, good kids. I think that goes without saying, but more important than a lot of times what they say is going to be what they do. So we need them to model, behavior that is consistent with that. The second thing is to focus on the positive. We want the older guys, the upperclassmen, to talk to our younger players and not critique them at every turn, not to tell them everything that they're doing wrong, but really just make them excited to get after it. And I read something somewhere, and I believe I even included it in the one pager that I'm going to share, that for every one critique, there should be 5 positive things or 5 compliments said to anyone, really. Okay, so that's a challenge to those of you that will be stepping into that mentor role. The third thing, again, it kind of goes without saying, is helping teammates improve. And that isn't just limited to baseball-related activities. That could be with things they see on social media. It could be with academics. It could be in preparing for the ACT or the SAT. We want this kind of holistic approach. And, there are guys within the program that, might choose not to play baseball at the college level. So we want them to be able to offer, all these life experiences to help the younger guys kind of come along in those footsteps. And then the last thing, I think it, encompasses all the 3 of the previous things, just to encourage them. Right now, I know for myself personally, and I'm sure many of you, it's tough, right? It's tough sometimes getting up and knowing that you're about to embark on kind of the same thing as yesterday, and you don't have that change of a new ball game, or the typical encounters that we're used to experiencing. So we really need these guys to step up and challenge the younger guys and make them excited about not only baseball but life itself. For the mentees, for the younger guys, you have some responsibilities as well. It's going to be tough. You're going to be matched up with some guys that you might not know at first, but you have to be in it because you want to grow and you want to get better. Just as you attend a training session or a hitting lesson or a pitching lesson, and you're listening to what adjustments you need to make, listen to what the older guys are saying and take it to heart. We're trusting that we have the right people in the right place and the right guys within the organization that are going to be in it to help you, do all these things. So trust that they're there and, they're pointing you in the right direction. The next thing is to really be a team player. And I know it might sound weird because this is outside the actual team setting. Okay. But realize that there's going to be some things that are going to be a little bit different, right? There's going to be things that you might not be familiar with that you're going to have to work within, a certain set of terminology or, trying different things. I know number 4 on there says take risks. Okay. You're going to be challenged in ways that, might be a little bit unconventional. Okay. Because every coach, every teacher, every mentor that you come across is going to say things a little bit differently or approach things a little bit different. Okay. And the last thing right there is to have a positive attitude. I know sitting in on some of the team calls, the Zoom calls, it's not that there's a negative attitude, but you could just tell from body language and from some of the responses that, we're not fully engaged. Okay. And these are, short sessions and things that, hopefully shouldn't take up more than maybe 10, 15 minutes of your week. So while you're giving that time to your mentor and mentors, while you're dedicating that time to the mentee, we really need you to be locked in and, be open-minded and be positive. So we understand that, assigning one player to another, or in some cases, as you'll see, there's going to be 2 guys matched up with one, there's some pods of 3. It's not always going to be perfect. Okay. So we wanted to take this idea and move it even a step further. And we're going to create accountability groups. So every mentor-mentee relationship is going to be placed within a larger group of 7 or 8 athletes. And that's going to capture all grade levels. So it'll be from, in some cases, the 8th graders all the way on up to the seniors, but at a minimum, we'll have a mix of freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And the reason we're doing this is because, just here's a study, and I cited my sources in the one pager that I'll share with you, but this study said that people, like individuals, are 65% more likely to reach their goals when they share it with somebody else, when they share it with just one person. But that number jumps up to 30%, or jumps up 30% to 95%, almost a full likelihood chance that they're going to achieve those goals when they meet with a group and they share those goals regularly with them. So 95%, I'm going to bank on that. Okay. And we know that everything's not going to be perfect within pairs, but we're going to double down on the idea that in a group of 7 or 8 teammates or 7 or 8 players within the group, there's going to be enough of them encouraging each other, holding each other accountable, that, these goals are going to become a reality, and it's going to be done so sooner rather than later. So the format of these group meetings, they shouldn't last longer than 30 minutes. So if you're keeping track of time at home, so far we have our 30-minute weekly Zoom calls. We're saying about a 10 to 15-minute mentor-mentee call every week, which is going to be on their schedule. So we're going to depend on them to communicate within each other to decide when that's going to be. And then another 30 minutes of these group meetings. So it's about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and 30 all in. That's less than 1 baseball game. If you include the pregame, that's less than half a day of baseball. So we don't think that we're asking too much, and we think the benefit, the reward is going to far outweigh, the amount of time that's spent doing this. The leader of the group is going to shift every week. So we're going to start with the oldest players in the group and go all the way down to the youngest. So after a full 2 months, you're going to have a chance to have everyone leave the group. And also it'll give the younger guys a great opportunity to see how the older guys approached it, see some different styles or some different ways in which they led it, and kind of develop their own leadership style. We believe that, some leadership qualities are probably innate, but there's a lot of them that are totally developed, and things that you learn by watching, you learn by observing. So I think that's the best way to do it, is go from the oldest to the youngest. In those 30-minute segments, you're not going to be sitting around each other, but it's going to be on a video chat or in a group me or on Zoom, whatever we see fit. But there's going to be three rounds. First one's going to be a check-in. So everyone's going to share where they're currently at. Hey, I'm having an awesome day. Hey, this past week's been a little bit rough. 1 minute tops, just kind of share, your current state. The second round is going to be a review. You're going to state what your last week's goal was, where you're at with it, if you've achieved it, you're still working on it, and then anything you need. So that's the important time. That's where this group is really going to work its magic, is because you could say, hey, I'm really struggling getting over the hump with this. I need a little help on this side of things. And, our expectation is that different guys in the group are going to take ownership of that, reach out and assist the other players where they're falling short. Then the third time through, that last round is going to be stating our goal for next week. And in many cases, there might be 2, 3, 4 weeks where it might be the same goal. Okay, and that's perfectly okay. We're not saying that you have to work magic, that you have to make everything perfect every single week. So know that that's going to be okay. This next part here is how the goals are going to be set. And I don't think this is anything that you guys haven't heard of before, but we want to stick to SMART goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And TJ's here to join us. I'm on the phone with her here, bud. So we want to make sure that they're, hey, I'm talking to a lot of people right now.
But I want to tell you something.
You can't right now.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to go right now.
Yeah, but I want to play Spider-Man.
Okay, we'll play Spider-Man in a little bit. Yes, I will. Tell Grandpa I'm on the phone with a lot of people. So I'm sure everybody can relate to that right now. But yeah, we want them to be SMART goals. And I think these are things that we've talked about in the past, or I know that we've talked about in the past, and I'm sure in your own programs, in your own life, that you're semi-familiar with. But that's one area that, again, you can hold each other accountable. When somebody blurts out a goal, do they meet this criteria? And as an example, there's a big difference between saying increase my throwing velocity from 81 to 85 by July 1st, which meets a SMART goal, rather than somebody getting on the phone and just saying, hey, I want to throw harder. Okay, just like those percentages before, when you set it within those constructs, then you're much more likely to achieve them. So as far as the logistics for them, the accountability groups the accountability groups will be formed into their own group me messages or group me groups tonight. When you have your accountability group meetings, we're going to leave how you do that up to you. And that's going to be up to the group leader. So, 1 week it might be Zoom. If you guys are all iPhone users or have like an Apple account, you want to try FaceTime. Again, that's up to you. And I think that's important because, people have to be open to different things. They have to try different things. And we want the leaders to step out and say, hey, I'm most comfortable with this, so we're going to try this out next week. Okay, so we're providing the flexibility there for people to step up and try something new. I do want to note that video is super important. Whenever I do these calls or when I share a message, a lot of times I'll do it through a little YouTube video or something like that. And just some stats right there that our CEO with NCSA and Reigning Champs shared in a message he sent out. Things to think about. We have 43 muscles in our face, 20 distinct facial expressions, and we miss a lot of things when we can't see each other. The guys who I've been on Zoom calls with, I called a few of them out just because, hey, if you're going to spend a short amount of time and people are going to spend their time with you, then just be present, right? Be there. Let them see what you look like, even if you're not feeling it or your mind's drifting. people feel like what they have to say is important when you're showing them that respect. Okay, so I would say whatever platform you use, try to make it with a video component. So the last thing here, and then we'll share those groups with everyone, is our organizational goal. Okay, and when we first started this, and everyone was first homebound or quarantined or whatever you want to call it, we reviewed the blast stuff, and we wanted to make sure that everybody was checked in there. And to be honest, I think there's been a lot of really good things, but I think we're still way behind. And either people still can't get connected, or they're not utilizing it, or they're not charging it. Whatever the case is, I look at Blast Most Swings as an organization, and I see 141,000 from Slammers North out of Colorado. Simple math tells me that we should be able to take them over. Okay, and the competitor in me, and hopefully the competitor in all of you, says that you don't want to be second to anyone. And this isn't a ball game. There aren't runs, hits, errors, anything. It's just how many swings you could take. And I can guarantee you, by virtue of taking more swings, you're all going to be better hitters. Okay, so when the April and May top 5 for Blast come out, I want to see us at the top. And Pug, myself, Adam, Bryce, you guys, let's all monitor that. Simple math, if we each took 1,000 swings, we'd be darn near 200,000 for the month. And I don't think that's all that much, given the course of a month. So I'm sure you guys are chomping at the bit to see who you're paired up with and who's in your groups. So there's 3 links right there. And again, we'll share these in GroupMe and an email. But the first one, if you go to mentors.itbc.family, that's going to give you your mentor-mentee pairings. If you go to groups.itbc.family, that's going to give you the accountability groups. Like I said before, those are 7 or 8 in each of them. And then that last one is going to cover everything we just went over in the slides, but in a nice, little 1-2 page document. So that's faq.itbc.family. So if you look there, you should find all the information that you need. You'll all be receiving invites to your accountability GroupMes after this here tonight. And yeah, that's all I have. So I said I wanted this to be 15 minutes. We're at 18 right now. If there are any questions, you can share them in the Q&A box, which should be a part of Zoom. I'll stay online here. And if you don't have any questions, feel free to log off, review those pairings, those groups, and look at that FAQ document for any questions. So again, thank you all so much for taking the time tonight. I hope you all had a great Easter weekend, Passover, if that's what you celebrate. And hopefully we'll see you all very soon here. I can answer. It looks like there's still a few attendees on. I'll answer these questions. One's about Blast, confirming that they did it properly. If you're into Blast Connect and you can see all your data, then I'm sure that you have, but we will check on that for you. The second question has to do with getting kids in shape and ready to play before tournaments begin. The best answer I can give on that is that everyone's going to be in the same boat. The benefit of having a larger organization, having a lot of players, is that we could do some inter-squad stuff, and we can get pitchers throwing an inning or 2 at a time to make sure that they're, prepared the right way. So, throughout the country, nobody's really getting ahead because of those same limitations. As far as the high school season, there are some coaches that are still very hopeful that there will be an abbreviated high school season. Even if that were to happen, it wouldn't and could not, according to the IHSA, go into July. So it'd be over, and that's including the state playoffs. It would be over at the end of June. And, if you ask most of the coaches and also a lot of the administrators, most don't think that's very likely. And then the last question, there are more. The first link on there goes to the pairings of mentors and mentees. Another question about the updating the Indians website, something that we definitely need to work on. And a great point with that last one as far as measuring throwing velocity or exit speed. They'll need the proper tools like a radar gun or something like that. So I would agree with that. Set goals that are attainable based on what you currently have. So if it's a strike percentage, if it's number of swings in a week, I think that one would be a hard thing to overcome, at least now if it's a shorter term goal. So Pug, is there anything that you wanted to add on there? I know I got a few attendees left on, but.
No, yeah, everything looks good. Sounds good. We'll make sure to send out everything here so everybody can be on the same page as we kind of move forward.
Yeah, a lot of information in a small amount of time, but we'll be here to walk through it together as a group. So stay safe this week. Have a great week, and we'll see you. Yes.